Hello, my name is Tara Chan, and welcome to TDW Tech Byte. Today I will be talking about how to prepare for due diligence. I'll go over a few topics, starting with why should you prepare for due diligence? Next, what is due diligence? Then, what are some typical examples of questions in a due diligence questionnaire? And finally, what are some practical tips when conducting due diligence? Why should you prepare for due diligence? If startups have all the materials concerning due diligence prepared and organized, even prior to approaching an investor, this allows you to focus on the actual funding process and transaction documents, rather than the sideline due diligence process. What is due diligence? Due diligence is the process of investigating into a business to understand a multitude of things, such as the business assets, liabilities, and its potential. Before investors proceed with their investment in your company, the investigation of certain documents and information will occur. They'll look into the business finances, key employees, the business model and plan, the intellectual property, what you have been doing so far, and other key aspects of your company, for example, such as licenses. So what are some typical examples of questions in a due diligence questionnaire? An investor would provide a due diligence questionnaire for the company to complete. These are questions that would be asked in relation to your business. Questions you may encounter include: what are the conducts of business? What are some material agreements of the business? For example, agency agreements, supplier and customer agreements, insurance policies, and material contracts. Understanding these material agreements of the business will allow the investor to have a sense of what is already in place. If all the required information and documentation are prepared and ready to be used to answer the due diligence questionnaire, it would speed up the investment process, which allows more focus and attention on the investment transaction. So what are some tips when conducting due diligence? It is never too early to prepare your documents and information that you will need to provide to a potential investor. So start organizing these documents in soft copy on databases to ensure that once due diligence starts, you have everything organized and ready to be presented. For example, you can organize all the intellectual property documents together, all the employment documents together, and all the accounting information together. It is very important to keep a record of anything that has been disclosed in due diligence to an investor, especially the documents that are provided to them. So therefore, often records of what has been disclosed will most likely be included inside the transaction documents. For example, in a disclosure letter. If something is disclosed orally, make sure that it is also written down as a record that has been disclosed to the investor. It is very important to have clear lines of communication and have processes in place about who should be contacted in respect of due diligence. If you don't have these processes and clear lines of communication in place, you'll have a lot of people responding to one another, and this may cause confusion between communication lines, and it would be difficult keeping track of exactly what information has been disclosed. You may identify anything that may be specifically disclosed due to the possibility of it being set out in a disclosure letter. This is often attached to the subscription agreement in an investment round. If you're using a virtual data room, it is very important to make sure that the data room is secure and that the documents contained in the data room remain confidential. Widely used data rooms are not advised due to the lack of security. When using data rooms, it is very important to limit who has access to these data rooms. Make sure that only the people who need to have access do. And also, we suggest using professional data room service providers that offer more security and can be regulated as to who has access and who can download the documents from the data room. This has been a short summary on why prepare for due diligence and useful due diligence tips. My name is Tara Chan, and if you have any concerns or questions regarding the due diligence process, please feel free to reach out to Tanner DeWitt.